What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at the final icon that came out in terms of the icon SBCs. It is none other than Prime Herrera, the 91 Spanish centre-back. We got Torres done, we've got Barnes done, and now Hierro has come out in a loan. And luckily I've got like 2 more icons to go until I can do a full icon squad. Obviously a lot of them are loan, but not the point. You can do friendlies and limited matches with them, but Hierro is coming in at about 440 to 420, depending on what console you're coming on. And honestly, he's not the greatest icon in the world, but most definitely not the worst centre-back. I personally would be okay with this one. I think his mid and his base, not amazing, but his prime actually bangs a little bit. So let me know down below, who's the best icon centre-back other than the standard, the Maldini, the Desai, the Rio? Who would you say is the best of the average tier? Let me know down below. Make sure you like and subscribe. And let's get into Herrera's review. If we go into Herrera's stats, his overalls and all of that good stuff, we will look at some gameplay, cracking tackler he is, and then we'll also look at the overall for him. So he's 73 pace, 93 defending, and 87 physicality. Incredible stuff. Some really decent stats right there. Obviously, people will be looking mainly at an anchor for him. I think personally, defensive, I wouldn't really go for a shadow. You possibly could even go with maybe a catalyst. I think shadow, catalyst, anchor is where we're going with. A shadow would turn him into a 93 centre back. Anchor is 94, and a catalyst would be a 90. For me, I get why people do shadow. It would turn him into an 83 paced, 99 defending centre-back. And I can see that. That for me is very, very nice. I just think it's such a waste that you're wasting all of that defence when you only need a +6. Whereas you can whack the anchor, you still get the 98 defence, you get 93 physicality, and then you also have 78 pace. Obviously, his prime moment is going to be absolutely cracked if it is just an additional onto this, because you could literally just go with a catalyst and go all out pace, get like an 85, 86 pace, already have about 95 defending, you'd also have like 90 physical. It's going to be a cracking card. He's a 2-star skiller with a 3-star weak foot. He is right-footed, standing at 6'2", with a high defensive and a medium attacking. So really, what are we looking at from this card? 88 composure, very good. I will absolutely take that. 85 balance, which is normally unusual that there's more balance than agility. I suppose it does make sense every now and then, but I think he is better on his feet, and I did notice that sliding wise was absolutely brilliant. You'll see a lot of good clips coming up of him sliding. He was just great at tackling. He always won the ball, always managed to keep the ball as well, which was always nice. So let's jump straight into some gameplay and see what Hierro did. So if we go straight into it, as you'll see, Hierro always there, always on point. You can either use him as the tackler that comes to the ball and tackles straight off the bat, or you could use him as the jockey. I feel like for me, he jockeyed quite quickly. For a player with not much agility, I felt like side-to-side movement was quite nice. You will see me use it a couple of times in these clips, where it's just kind of making sure that you go in the right way. The opponent's trying to kind of duck and weave, and he's just keeping with them. It's very, very nice stuff. Granted, yes, when you go against certain opponents with Neymar and Mbappe, it's a bit harder. They move a bit quicker. You can't really, you have to basically judge and kind of hope which way they're going. But for me, Hierro did really well on the tackle. You see this double block, managing to get the jockey block, and then again coming into position when you need him most. Honestly, I just thought he was a solid centre-back. Wouldn't say I was absolutely over the moon for him, but definitely a good centre-back nonetheless. I think if you can craft this out for free, you've got a cracking centre-back there, and obviously does link to everybody. So if we are looking at Herrera's overall, so if we look at his difference between the transfer market and the SBC, you can see 510 and 460 or 450, then you've got 440 and 420 to 30-ish. I think for me, like Torres, they're going to equal out. Maybe the transfer market does come down. It's only a fresh day that they have been released, so more than likely it takes time to adjust. But Hierro, still 500k. Granted, it is a prime, so you've always got to remember these are relatively new, and he's already at kind of like base to mid-tier value of an average icon right there. So for me, I think he's a good centre-back. I just wouldn't say he's 100% worth it. I think Torres and Barnes are definitely two of the better ones, which is what they were meant to be. Torres was always meant to be the best out of the three. Barnes was meant to be the mid, and Hierro is the low icon. In case you just want to kind of throw a little bit of fodder into it, even though Barnes is technically the same sort of value in terms of SBC. But for me, I think he's a good addition to the team. Personally, I would probably hold out for his prime moment. I feel like that will be a better version. Obviously, it should be, but sometimes it isn't. Sometimes the prime, mid, and best always change and kind of chop and change with how good each of them are. But prime moment always seems to be considerably better. In terms of links, Puyol, Xavi, Guardiola, you've obviously got Herrera's other cards if you wanted, and then you've got the likes of Butra and Torres if you wanted to bring them down into a link of some sort, and then all the other icons, plus Ramos, De Gea, you've got Jordi Alba, you've got trying to think who else, Sergio Roberto, Carvajal in the midfield, you've got Rodri, you've got Thiago, plenty of Spanish players. There's probably way better players, they're just the ones that came to the top of my head. And other centre-backs, Rio, Blanc, you've got Desai, Maldini, obviously, some of the more average ones with like Nesta, Baresi, you've got, I'm trying to think of another average one. I think if you go centre-back wise, if we have a quick look and see who else we've got in centre-back. So we've obviously got Baresi, Nesta, Cannavaro's a cracking one. Bobby Moore, more average than anything. Coman, tends to be quite nice, but it's more of a midfielder in my opinion. And then you've got Vidic, who is new in this game. Campbell, Matthias, who for me is more of a midfielder. Same with Rijkaard. And that's really about it. But in terms of players, I don't think he does too badly. He's ranking quite highly in terms of prime centre-back rating, but for me, it's not going to be a pretty picture for him in terms of in the top tier of centre-backs. I feel like 8 out of 10 does him justice. Personally, I wouldn't rate him any higher. I feel like that is pushing the boundaries to the start just because of that kind of defensive attribute that really does well in terms of manual defending. If it was auto defending, I feel like you could get away with a hell of a lot less in terms of a centre-back value. Varane, Joe Gomez will do just wonders for literally a third of this price. Even if you sprung out on getting Virgil, I feel like you can get Varane and Virgil for almost the same price, if not a hell of a lot less than this card. But the one thing that always I say is that this can be done untradeable. And it's the one thing that I think with these SBCs, if you can do it for free or do it for very minimal coins, it's 100% worth it. Regardless who it is, 100% it's worth it. If you have to spend almost to the value, no way. If you're spending 200k on a centre-back that's an icon, that's meant to be 400-500k, you're always on a winner. If you're having to put 400k worth of players in and spend them coins, for me, it's just not worth it. I feel like he's a good centre-back. Obviously, the anchor does him well in terms of a 94 rated. Shadow does well in terms of 99 and 83 pace. But I would say hold out for prime moment, or just go by Varane, Gomez, Walker, centre-back, in form, Virgil. There's so many options that you can go out there. In terms of the SBC then, just quickly before we finish off on this final one, we do have Essien and Ronaldo coming tomorrow if there's no more content. We have got the bronze and silver, we have an 80 rated team with one in form, and then we have an 84 with an in form, an 85 and an 86 with an in form. Pretty cheap, pretty easy to do. You can grind that out with player picks, double upgrades. There's going to be plenty coming out within the next 45 days, so definitely check out this card in terms of SBC. If you are looking to just grind through one, I would personally go Barnes, Torres, then this guy, but definitely have a look and see what you think. But apart from that, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all for the next one. Peace.